Welcome to Rewriting Real Estate, Millionaire Moves and Modern Tactics with your host, Kimberly Falker, a coach, mentor and strategist for agents who are ready to scale smarter. On this show, you'll learn from high-performing agents who are building their empires with innovation, intention and no apologies. Whether you're an experienced agent stuck at a plateau or a rising star ready to fast-track your success, this podcast gives you the real-world tactics, mindset shifts, and lessons learned from those rewriting the rules.
Hello and welcome back to Rewriting Real Estate. Today's guest is someone who has completely reshaped how agents think about building a business. Erik Hatch is a powerhouse out of Fargo, North Dakota. He's a top producing realtor, the founder of Hatch Realty and Hatch Coaching, and the mind behind one of the most profitable micro team models in the country. He's coached thousands of agents, built a business that nets over $1 million a year, and is known for creating leaders, not just salespeople. So I'm super excited to welcome Erik Hatch to the show today.
All right. So hi, Erik. I'm so glad that you're here. Definitely
Thank you for the invite. Makes me feel like a princess when I get invited to a ball or to a party. I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah. I like to start off because nobody typically jumps into the life of real estate without a life before real estate. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your life before real estate and how real estate found you within that world of your life.
Male modeling was an early part of my career. I was 8 years old and I did a runway show for Kmart. And then
from the Eros history.
When I was 22 years old, I was a hair model for a local salon. And now I am bald. So I think it's been all the hair dye and modeling time that has been so harsh on it. It's been a ride, Kim. But I'll tell you this is post-college, I went to North Dakota State University in Fargo, North Dakota. Studied communications and religion. I went into the ministry for about a decade and I did youth ministry and worship leading, and it was like the best job in the world.
I bet.
I loved working in the ministry because I got paid, not well, but I got paid to walk through people's like hardships and their joys and their celebrations. And I got to talk about God and I got to help people with some heavy lifting and some tough stuff. And it was my favorite job that I ever had, but it stunk for supporting my family.
There you go.
And I'm an entrepreneur by trade, and I didn't recognize it at the time, but I was like, man, I got 4,000 bosses. Talk about baptism by fire, to use some church words. But like, I was thrown into the mix of having to hear no by a bunch of people that were always wanting to do things the way they've always done them. And I wanted to push boundaries and find new ways in which to invite people to love Jesus and to invite them to grow in their faith that wasn't the traditional sort of route. And so I saw from moment one the importance of trying to win a room over. I saw the importance of marketing and helping people to get on board and on the same squad. And I heard no 1,000 times more than I heard yes. And that just all transcended into my real estate career. But Kim, this is the fun part. Because I love Jesus, but I'm a hot mess. And
aren't we all?
I found myself in the middle of my ministry career. I went and got my real estate license. I started in 2003, got my real estate license in 2006, sold 0 houses my first year, and then I figured out how to do it thereafter and have sold about 8,000 homes with my team and myself since. So it's been a fun ride. But in that moment, the reason why I got my real estate license, Kim, was because I needed to fund my gambling addiction.
Oh.
I used to be a professional poker player, and
Really?
I was pretty good at it and made some good money. And then my addiction took over and I started to play faster and for higher stakes and games that, like, poker was always like strategy to play against other people and to analyze situations to see when to go all in and when to fold. And I just started to play faster. I played the rush, and then I all of a sudden started losing money. And I've never done meth, but I don't think you can take more meth to get rid of your meth addiction. But in gambling, if you lose $1,000, you're like, man, if I bet $1,000 more, I can get rid of that $1,000 loss that I just had. And it just compounded and compounded. And I was working a job that was making $28,000 a year. My wife was a public educator making $30,000 a year. And I had $70,000 in credit card debt.
Wow.
And real estate was the only way I could take care of and pay for that mistake that I had made. And so I didn't file for bankruptcy. I went to credit counseling. I confessed to my wife. By the grace of God, she stayed with me. And we did all of these things to focus on getting our heads out of the troubled toilet that I found ourselves in. And so real estate was the vehicle that first fixed my gambling issue, my gambling woes. And I've been clean of gambling since 2008, which is awesome. But I'm an entrepreneur now, so I guess I still gamble all the time.
Yeah.
Who knows? Just not at a poker table, not at a blackjack table. And instead, I used it and I rid myself of that debt within 18 months. My part-time job of real estate, I was able to completely eliminate that looming debt that I had. And then my wife and I wanted to become parents, and we battled major infertility for 4 years and a bunch of miscarriages and ectopic pregnancies and more heartache than I ever care for. And there came a point where I needed to fund being a dad, and ministry wasn't able to do it. And so I went all in on real estate simply for the money. But where I find it today is real estate gives me more money than I ever thought possible, but it's also my ministry.
Yeah.
And so that's like I've hit the sweet spot, Kim. Like I get to have my cake and eat it too. I get to be in a field that I love, and I get to serve people exceptionally well. And my family wins hugely as a part of it too.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you've been, I know, because first of all, for those that are listening, you put on an amazing, exceptional events. You're really good at eventing.
Thank you.
One thing that I think you do extremely well is you have events that you're not just being taught at, you actually break people apart and have an ability to learn from others, which for me has been very unique because I'm a bit of a conference junkie. As my husband calls it, the boondoggles that I go on, but I actually get something out of it. I love conferences, but he's, it's another boondoggle. You just want to go have fun, which I do have fun at them. But anyway, but this didn't come, obviously, as a leader in the ministry and now as a leader in real estate. The events and such didn't happen immediately. I know that it's evolved over time, and you now have a very amazing coaching business and you're an amazing leader. That's a journey of evolution. So how did that happen?
I'm going to break it down year by year because each year tells a totally different story. I went into real estate full-time in 2011. And so my first year, I sold 52 houses as a solo agent, and it was all sphere referral, past clients, open houses. Like I didn't buy any leads. I just relied on the relationship capital that I had developed and earned over my life living in Fargo. I've lived in this city my whole life, and hold your judgment for just a moment. It's a lovely place. It's just really cold.
I've been in hockey tournaments there, so I do know.
I love that.
But it is
2012, I
cold.
started so cold. In 2012, I started a real estate team because I was a Keller Williams agent, and I read MREA, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, that said, hey, you're supposed to start a team. And so I did that, and we had, I think, success, but also massive failure because we sold 192 houses our first year as a team, but I was 113 of those transactions, Kim.
Oh, gosh.
I was 60% of the transactions. And so every agent on my team was selling 15-ish homes, and our average sales price was $180,000. And so they were making maybe 30 grand, maybe 40 grand a year. That's not awesome. And we were messy and sloppy. And so now 2013, my team is firing on all cylinders and also ruining most of the things I was trying to build. And it was solely my fault because I hired some of the wrong people and I moved too fast, and I gave them my leftovers and I hoped that they would figure out how to sell. People start real estate teams because they think it's going to get them more time in their life and it's going to make them more money. And usually both things aren't true.
Right.
And I ended up getting kicked out of Keller Williams in 2013. It was just this like hot mess.
Kicked out of brokerages.
Shoot, yeah, I'm a bad boy. Are you kidding me? The ministry guys, I'm a bad boy. And so I was given the chance of starting over, and I butted heads with the team leader. I told her I didn't like her or trust her because my ego was just out of control. And then I had a team member do something pretty wrong, and it was a reflection on my leadership. And so I was shown the door. And I had a Jerry Maguire moment in 2013. I looked around and I'm like, all right, who's coming with me? And I had one agent and one admin say yes, and the other 10 people said no. And I'm like, oh,
Okay,
I'm the
then.
problem. And that year, we sold 246 homes, regardless of the transition. I went to a rebound girlfriend mom and pop brokerage that cost me $250,000 in mistakes, money that I had to pay in and money that they kept from me when I left.
Gosh.
So I learned some serious lessons, but that's the moment in 2013 where I said, I have to turn this into something that has everybody else with a recipe for success. And I didn't give them my leftovers anymore. They didn't get the rest of me. They got the best of me. And so from moment one with that newly found team, I dedicated 8:30 to 11 a.m. every day to serve that team. And that was the blueprint. It was so simple. We would train and role play. We would lead generate together, and I'd be elbow to elbow with them, and I'd be making calls, and I was in production too. So in 2013, I did 149 of our 246 deals. 2014, I opened up my own independent brokerage, and we did 411 deals that year.
Wow.
And I was 153. So for the first time in my career, my team outproduced me.
How many
And in
people
that
were on the
same
team
year-
at that time?
We finished the year at 19 people, so 19 agents, but every single one of them was new within 12 to 18 months. Every
Oh,
single one of
wow.
them. We were 19 people total. We were 14 agents and 5 admin support. And so my per agent productivity, remember, I sold 153 houses that year. So like I messed up that per agent productivity a little bit, but my new agents, I had a guy in his first year sell 49 houses.
Sheesh.
And my daughter was born in October of that year, my first of 2 kids, right? And so we were gifted with the very last embryo that worked and
Aw.
the very last dollar that we had at the time, in which within a 6-month period, my dad died. My wife had an ectopic pregnancy and surgery. I lost a ton of money. Like all these things just compounded. And then we snuck one past the goalie. Like it was just the most amazing thing that happened. And so I got out of production in 2014. I've been out of production for over 11 years, Kim.
Oh.
It's a fascinating ride. I'll still sell a couple a year to like friends or family, but for the most part, I've been out of production. And what happened is I've always had 2 jobs, right? I had ministry and real estate. And then after my 10 years in the ministry, I was real estate and building a team, because those are 2 different jobs, right? Personal production and building a team,
Yeah.
2 different jobs. Then as I got out of personal production, at the same time, that's when I was now leading a team. That was the thing that paid me. And then I had the thing that I was building, which was coaching, because we had cracked the code on 3 things that I think most of the industry marveled at or appreciated or revered or coveted. We had our per agent productivity. Every year I was cooking with my team was between 20 and 35 transactions per agent per year. That is hardly ever passed by anybody else in the industry. So people are like, how are you getting so successful with your agents? And Kim, it was 8:30 to 11 every day. Everybody showed up.
That's amazing.
There was no other magic to it other than we all agreed that we were going to show up, and we were going to show up on time. We were going to show up with the right energy. We're all going to role play, and then we were all going to lead generate together. That was it. And so that was number 1, was per agent productivity. Number 2 was the ISA model, the inside sales agent model. I introduced that in 2013. I hired my very first ISA, and we were successful simply because somebody answered the calls that came in and responded to leads quickly when they landed in our inbox. And so all of a sudden, we started to see some fruit of this. And then I brought in my second ISA, a guy that built an incredible system over the last decade. His name is Robbie Trefethrin, knows in the industry as Robbie T. And he built and served ISAs at a super high capacity. Kim, I just made a post though earlier today saying that I think the ISA model is dead, because I think AI is cooking, and I think that clients want to communicate via text and email more than they do voice to voice, and so the agent doesn't have to jump in right away. And a system can be done by an ISA, or excuse me, by the ISA system can be done by AI. That was our second piece, though, is we capitalized on people wanting to try to figure out, if you're purchasing leads, how do you put an insurance policy on that? And that was the ISAs. We had the best ISA training program and company in the industry.
Wow.
So per agent productivity, the ISA model, and working those leads relentlessly. I think here's one little caveat, Kim. The average lifespan of a Google pay-per-click lead from the time in which it hit our inbox to closing averaged 630 days. We built a system and a process that nurtured from day 1 all the way to day 1,000.
Wow.
And we saw that the average person transacted on day 630. So that took some fervor and some gumption, and the industry, I think, marveled at that and said that they wanted to have a piece of that. The third piece of that is we introduced, and I know you were able to see the inside scoop of this, we introduced the agent partner model in 2013. This is essentially a nurse to an agent being a doctor. It is the only plan that a new agent should follow to guarantee their success in the industry. It is partnering with an agent that's already cooking. And this is the fast and best example I can give is, Kim, if you're a new agent in this industry, you don't have the sales ability or the experience that I have. Although you maybe can develop it, I could try to give you 5 quality leads. A standard traditional team is going to say, Kim's this new agent. I'm going to give her 5 quality leads. Each one is a $10,000 commission, and we're on a 50-50 split. So Kim's going to make $25,000 with these 5 leads, and I'm going to make $25,000 with these 5 leads. And I'm just going to hire 40 Kims, and I'm going to make $1 million. But the truth is, Kim, I can give you 5 quality leads as the new agent. You're not going to close 5. You're not going to close 4, and you're not going to close 3. You're going to close 2. Maybe 1, but guess which finger I'm going to leave if it's just 1, right? Like, it's really harsh. And so that means that you just made, as the new agent, $10,000, but that's probably over the span of 6 months. And that's a terrible life to give someone. And I didn't just make 10,000. I think I just lost 40,000.
Right.
Because if I would have kept those deals myself, but brought you on to work those deals with me, I don't need you to be me. I need you to support me. And it's a total fundamental shift on how real estate teams are built. And so we did this for our top agents. We took all the new agents and partnered them with top agents. My top agents went from selling 40 houses a year to 60 or 70. And they worked less and they made more. What people actually want to do in a real estate team. And then the new agents, Kim, they were the best of the best by the time they had actually earned the right to sit in the same seat. They converted the 5 out of 5. They weren't wasting money for myself or for themselves. They all of a sudden developed the most robust of careers because they learned in the greatest seat, in a support seat, as opposed to a seat of just being thrown to the wolves. And so those 3 things have transformed the last decade for me. And I've been a coach now on those 3 things: per agent productivity and leadership, the ISA model, and how to build these micro teams that get you more money and more time than you ever dreamt possible.
That's amazing. So in your coaching program, is it a hands-on? Is it a virtual? Or how do you run your program?
I used to do solely one-to-one coaching, and I love one-to-one coaching. I think it's really impactful.
Yeah.
But I have undervalued the power of community. Community is everything. You and I are privileged to be at Real together. That's how we were first associated before we developed our friendship. Here's conference junkie Kim and conference junkie Erik.
And Doggle Kim.
and so now it's this place, like that community that we get to be in is incredible.
Yeah.
And I intentionally curate communities. I have 3 communities that I serve. One is a local community, has nothing to do with real estate. It's C-level executives and entrepreneurs and small business owners. And so I developed their leadership skills from hiring to retention to profit and loss statements to everything else. But having done this long enough, I think I have a pretty acute and keen eye for a lot of those details that they maybe don't have experience in yet. So I serve leaders locally. I have a group called Redefined. That's for men who are privileged with pressure, guys who are in positions of maybe some power and influence. And we spend more time talking about how we are as husbands and friends and how's our health. And we will, of course, figure out the rest of the stuff. But there's an epidemic of loneliness in men. And
are these men local or all over the place?
All over the country.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're all industries or just
Correct.
realtors?
Yeah. It's any and all industries. Half of them are realtors because your tribe finds you. But others are just, we have some people in insurance and some people in construction, and I can keep going down the list. But then I have a mastermind that I run in a community that I serve that's designed for top agents and team leaders. And so people who are looking to solve some of the problems of how do I scale, how do I grow, how do I make more money and not lose my life and my soul to this industry. And we come together in community. And so, yes, I still coach one-to-one. And then I spend a lot of time creating community. And the shocking thing about coaching, Kim, is like I give away 95% of my stuff for free. I teach at least 2 times a week through different classes that are available for anybody to come to. and I'll hop on anybody's podcast or webinar and just do everything I can to try to serve this industry, because I have ripped off and duplicated from the best of the best in the industry, and it's my privilege to pay it forward. And so I give away almost everything, and yet my coaching business is a really lucrative business. And the reason why is because people want customized and they want to work on their stuff. One-to-many is teaching, but one-to-one is coaching.
That makes sense.
I teach 95% of the time, and then it turns into a high dollar per hour coaching relationship or community creation relationship.
So if somebody wanted to join any of this coaching, I'll have all the links below, but they would be able to reach out to you. And because you said it's top agents and team leaders, but what if somebody isn't a top agent but wants to participate? Is there like a right entry?
There is no barrier of entry because I love the hungry. In fact, Jordan Terrell, who I've masterminded with and coached for years and sponsored, before he ever sold a single house, he hired a coach and hired an admin. And I was like, oh my gosh, Jordan, who in their right mind, before they ever make a single commission, hires a coach and hires an admin? And he said this, and it sticks with me for forever. He said, Erik, if I want to start a coffee shop, I have to sign a 5-year lease, and I have to purchase all of the equipment. I have to buy all the coffee beans. I have to do all the marketing for it. I have to get all the chairs and the equipment. I have to hire my staff, and then I have to schedule my grand opening. And I'm probably $500,000 in before I sell a $6 cup of hot, overpriced bean water. And he said, in real estate, you can offset all your expenses and everything that you've thrown at it with one sale. And so he said, I was committed to being excellent from moment one. Wow. And so he hired a coach and he hired an admin before he ever sold a house. And that's guts, Kim. Yeah. I don't think that I would have had the courage or the foresight to do that. But knowing what I now know, I think that Jordan's way is the right way. You just got to I was on a coaching call earlier today with a guy. His name is Dustin. And Dustin he's only 3 months in, and he hadn't done his homework. And I said, I got on his butt, Kim. I'm like, Dustin, you're spending all this money for my time, but you're not keeping your promise to yourself. And it was this call to the carpet. Like, man, you might fire me because I'm gonna ride your butt for this, but like, you promised your family that you get better at your business, and you put your money here to get better, but you're not even doing the simple things that you say you're going to commit to when we get off this call. And so sometimes you don't need to hire a coach to do that, but I got to tell you, having somebody who's unafraid of telling you when you're wrong is always been valuable in my life. So yes, we have room for anybody that's hungry, anybody that's got some guts, anybody that's looking for a community, no doubt.
And you speak of in your coaching business or in your leadership that you're also training leaders versus just producers. Like what's your definition? If it's a solo agent, doesn't have a team, doesn't have the micro team, like there's still got to be some level of lead. Talk to me about the leadership versus producer, because I think
your story with me is maybe the tale to tell, because I had an event in Scottsdale in September, and you signed up right away because I think we like each other and you're an event junkie. And then you saw, oh, this is really targeted at leadership and teams, and you don't have a team. And you're like, Erik, I don't think that this is for me. And I'm like, Kim, I actually think it is for you. And after the 2 days, was the event for you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And here's why. I have a coaching client named Alex, and she owns a transaction coordination company out of the Twin Cities. And she has big aspirations and goals. And so when I hired her, I said, are you hiring me so you can make some more money? Or are you hiring me so you can like 10x the money that you make? And she's like, oh, I said the number. She's like, yeah, that's what I want. And then she drew really clear boundaries. And what she said was, Erik, I'm not willing. My non-negotiable is like my time with my family. I'm not going to lose my life to this career. I want to be 40 hours all in, and then that's it. I'm like, awesome. Like, I love the boundaries. And then we started to talk about her personal health. And I love working out, and there's a Pilates studio 45 minutes away. And so I'm committed to going twice a week, and because it's 3 hours each time, and I'm going to do that during the day so I don't lose time with my family. And so I can only go twice a week. And I said, how about during your drive time, you record some videos or you record some audio messages and you use that as like marketing time, trying to figure out like how to kill two birds with one stone. And she said, Erik, that feels unsafe for me. Now, Kim, I don't know about you, but like I can make a chicken parmesan and knit a blanket while I drive, and
Tell
I
her to
feel
get a
okay with
Tesla
it.
and then she'll be okay.
Oh, I know. That battery will last for an hour in Minnesota, no doubt.
Oh, good point. Then it'll drive itself.
Oh, I know. But she's like, it feels unsafe. I said, okay. So then I said, Alex, you need to hire a driver and you need to work out 4 or 5 days a week. So you need to hire a driver for 12 to 15 hours a week because you should maximize your time. And she's like, that's super uncomfortable. I'll spare you some of the details, but we ended the conversation with this. And I don't always say smart things, Kim, but I felt pretty smart when I said this. I said, Alex, we're trying to figure out what you need to do in order to make the millions of dollars you aspirationally want. I actually think that we need to change the target into who you need to become.
That's a good point.
And why do I coach on leadership? Leadership is influence. Leadership is the influence to yourself and to your family and to your kids and to your friends and to your community. My wife and I right now, we're building this ministry outreach. It's a day-long summit for husbands and wives.
Oh, cool.
And I'm so excited about it because if my marriage is a 10 out of 10, I promise you my business will reflect that.
Yes.
And if my marriage is a 10 out of 10, I am such a better husband. Or excuse me, I'm such a better father. And if my marriage is a 10 out of 10, my health is going to reflect that. If we get the right things right, and that's leadership and personal development on the things that actually matter in life, who we become will then bear so much more fruit into what we do. And so everything that I teach and preach is hopefully, prayerfully about leadership and development of the things that really matter. And the byproduct will be a more fruitful business.
That makes total sense. And you're right. If you can start with the foundation of your life, if you're in a marriage, if your marriage is good, then things get better from there. If your marriage is not good, things seem to flounder from there as well.
Yeah.
So in addition to your coaching, I know that one thing that I learned about you that is very impressive is your philanthropic work. I can never say that word very good. Philanthropic work.
Yeah.
Yep.
You nailed it. You crushed it.
After the fourth time. Tell us a little bit about that and how it came to be and how much you've done with it. It's really impressive in my opinion.
Yeah, it's been the driver behind so much of the things that I'm connected to and privileged to do. You're going to get me storytelling here, Kim, so buckle up, my friends. Here's the start of it is I grew up as a kid who was an active church kid, and my dad was never in my life, but my mom was like this super woman. And when I was 16 years old, I went on my very first mission trip. I went down to Mexico, was exposed to what real poverty looks like in the world. And I was also exposed to the connection that I could have, this heart connection with my Creator. And so I came back. This is what my life is supposed to be like, is a life of service and outreach and making a difference in the world. And on the drive home, I asked my mom, I'm like, hey, how was your doctor's appointment? She's like, didn't go very well. She's like, I have cancer. My mom had stage 4 cancer. Okay. And I was 16 years old. And she went through the nastiest chemotherapy and radiation you could ever imagine. But her prayer was to live to see me graduate high school. And I graduated high school. I was my senior class president. I had the privilege to speak about my mom at graduation. Like it was this serendipitous moment that was like so awesome. But she was still recovering and she had actually beat cancer. She had like a 5 or 10% chance to live and she beat it. Betty Hatch was a stubborn old lady. And so I went to college in Fargo where I was born and raised, and I wanted to stay close to home. My sister's off in the Navy in San Diego, and my dad's not in the picture, and so it's just my mom and me. My junior year of college, towards the end, my mom gets re-diagnosed with cancer, lives no more than 60 days, and dies in the summer of 2001 when I'm 21 years old. And so I'm just trying to figure out like what my life is supposed to be and what I'm supposed to do. And I go into the ministry after college because my church had supported me and lifted me up and done all these amazing things. And that heart that I had as a 16-year-old to serve and to give and to do philanthropic things and to help people to recognize the power that they have, and that power that they have is the goodness that we have. I started to use that in my ministry. And when kids would come to me and they'd be like, Erik, like, I'm really struggling. Like, why am I even here on this earth? What's the purpose of life? I would always point to my favorite scripture. It's Ephesians 2:10. it says, for you are God's handiwork created by Jesus, and you're created to do good works that are already set aside for you to do. Like, it is our design by God to serve other people. And so I'm like, cool. That's the thing. And so I built some stuff at my church and we did that. And then I got into real estate, and Kim, I found success in sales and I made a bunch of money, and I was hit over the head with a business that fell apart, and I was hit over the head with wealth guilt. I went from making $40,000 a year, 10 years in on my ministry, to making $250,000 that next year. And I was like, oh my gosh, I felt so guilty about it. And like the only examples of businessmen I saw was like from Glengarry Glen Ross and Boiler Room and Wolf of Wall Street, like these kind of not great images of what you're supposed to do when you have wealth. But I grew up with one foot in the welfare bucket, and I had no role model super close in my life that I could glean to. I find a guy named Nick Shivers. Nick Shivers is out of Portland, Oregon. He has an awesome team, and God had put it on my heart at the end of my ministry to go to Haiti in 2010.
Okay.
And so this was right after the earthquake. If you remember, Haiti had a tumultuous earthquake that ravished the most poverty-stricken country in the Western Hemisphere already. And over 250,000 people died in January of 2010 in Haiti. I took a group down, and we went down, and August in Haiti is a very sweaty, hard time to go. But we saw destruction firsthand. We were at an orphanage that had 125 kids in it and 2 workers. And the walls were closing in as you were there. It was the older kids taking care of the younger kids. It was poverty like I had never seen or experienced it before, but it brought me back to that time in Mexico 15 years prior. And it was like all these emotions and all these things, Kim. And so what happened in this is I gave a bunch of money, and we served there at that orphanage for a number of days. And a month after we came back, I got a newspaper article sent to me that said, the Son of God orphanage in Carrefour, Haiti is corrupt.
Oh.
And the 125 kids that were there, when people actually stepped in, there was about 50 kids left. And those 75 kids were either murdered for organ harvesting or sold into the sex trade industry.
Oh my gosh.
This is at the same time that I'm transitioning into real estate and finding financial favor.
Oh gosh.
And I have a saying in my life, Kim, that is, if not me, who? And if not now, when? And so I'm running my business, and then I meet this guy named Nick Shivers because he is using his business to help save kids from around the world. And I'm like, I'm going to start an orphanage. We're going to start an orphanage. This is going to be unbelievable. And then I look into it, and I'm like, that's irresponsible for the great white hope to go to a third world country and to start an orphanage. And actually, it's far better to empower the people that are already serving there and empower the locals to create this. And so we ended up partnering and building something together. It's called Sell a Home, Save a Child. About 10 years ago, Nick and I agreed to use our voice and our influence to invite people like you to say, hey, we can't be the only people that want to make a difference in this world. And that want to use this real estate industry for more than just personal gain. This is for kingdom give. And so what can we do for it? And we've just introduced people to it. And over the course of the last decade or so, Sell a Home, Save a Child has raised over $8 million.
Wow.
Now, pretty wild. And now fast forward to the last few years. And as I've been doing my real estate summits, my big annual conference that I do in Fargo, yes, it's June though. So it's like lovely. We don't dare do something like this in the winter. But we bring people from all around the country and even some Canadians to come and take part in this summit. And 10 years ago when I started this, we invited the 30 people that were in the room as we told the story of Sell a Home, Save a Child, that if they had it on their heart to give, we want to make a difference together. And we raised $19,000 with 30 people on that first time together. And every summit we've done since, we do what's called an impact party, and we invite people to give and to give generously. One year... we raised, before that even started, I pulled together about 25 people who had large financial abilities to give, and we raised $750,000 before our event even started. And then we went to the event, and we raised an additional $300,000. So we did $1.05 million worth of fundraising to help rescue trafficked kids from around the world. We did that in a night in 2 hours for 250 people.
Wow.
And I say all this because now I've helped to raise another couple of $1 million to help fight human trafficking with a company called Unseen. And we're taking out some bad guys and we're rescuing kids from the grips of hell and like all these things. And Kim, I've been given a voice.
It's awesome.
And my playing small does not serve the world. And if not me, who? And if not now, when? And so I think that there's so many people who want to give, who have the heart to give, but they don't know how to give responsibly.
That's a good point.
And so I just want to be that connector, that extension cord. And then, of course, my wife and I are doing all we can to try to build a big business and a big life that makes that impact also.
That's amazing. I love it. And like I said, you do amazing events, and to also parlay that into growth of donations that help impact lives, which is huge, huge. I love it.
It's been a wild ride.
Yeah, you're right. Every realtor seems to have wild rides, but yours is very interesting. Now, I know you also have a book that I have. I actually think I have it on my desk somewhere. Where is it? Oh, it's right here. I'll hold it up. But I love it. It's great. It's a very well-written book.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's called The Perfect Real Estate Agent Blueprint, and we wrote it a few years ago because I think that MREA taught people how to have a team, but it didn't teach people how to give a 10 out of 10 experience to those team members. Like it was an unfinished thought. It also had unrealistic numbers in there where agents are working for you instead of you working for your agents. And so we wanted to modify that. We wanted to simplify it. We wanted to put real experience. So it's the story of what I've built over the last 20 years, as well as so many people in the industry that I've had the privilege of coaching with or working with. And it's our love letter to this industry. And it's our gift. We don't make any money on it. If you want a copy, all you need to do is DM me the word blueprint on my Instagram. I'm at Real Erik Hatch. It's Erik with a K. And if you DM me the word blueprint, we'll get you a free copy. We just ask that you pay shipping and handling because I don't need to make money on it. I just want to make an influence. And
it's really great. It's a great workbook. It's very well written and it's palatable. So you can actually earmark it and go back when you're struggling with things. But yeah, we wanted to create an equal part of the right heart and intention, along with actual models that give you exactness, so you don't have to try to figure it out on your own. So when's your next event?
Good question. So we have events that pop up from here to there. We're masterminding in Mexico in January. Which is awesome. Our big event that we want to point everybody to is our Hatch Summit that happens in Fargo, and that's in June. Okay. And so we're looking at June 15th to the 17th in Fargo, North Dakota. And if you go to hatchcoaching.com, you'll be able to see all the details for our summit. And we have some early bird tickets on sale right now, so don't sleep on it because then you'll have to pay more in a couple weeks.
And then you also mentioned that you give away a lot of your coaching knowledge for free at different mastermind calls throughout the week. Can anybody go to that, or is that?
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Again, we set up everything through Instagram that has some great many chat prompts. So if you want a copy of the book, send me the word blueprint. If you want to come to my free trainings, just send me the word CEO. And I work on training leaders and top agents across the industry. And it's free and open to all. It doesn't matter your brokerage. Doesn't matter if you ever hire me or not. I just want to serve. And eventually, if I serve really well, people ask for my time. And then I can support my family with that.
Erik, thank you so much.
Kim, you're so cool. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Rewriting Real Estate. If today's episode challenged your thinking or gave you a strategy worth trying, share it. The right move at the right time can change everything. Subscribe and listen in next week for more insight, more momentum, and more ways to grow your business your way.